Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review. We're the hosts of the What Do You Say Anime podcast. Nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that will hopefully lead to a great conversation. On today's episode, the Shoujo enthusiasts of the What Do You Say Anime podcast will be reviewing the 2021 Anime of the Year, Kageki Shojo. Let's meet today's Hojos. First up, he is JPX48's biggest stand. We got Jay. Jay, how's it going?
If I had a quarter for every time we watched an opera girl show called Kageki Shojo that had a giraffe be the primary plot motivator, I'd have 2 quarters, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice in such a short amount of time.
Like 4 weeks or something.
That's a Sarasa joke. All right. Glad we could explain the comedy to Johnny.
Oh.
Next up, with finishing this show, he has completed his first ever shoujo anime. We have Johnny. Johnny, how's it going?
Yeah, it's quite an honor to have a first time seeing a shoujo show. Actually, no, that's not true because I watched like 3 episodes of Fruits Basket and then I dropped it because it was boring. But yeah, I finished this one, so that's good.
I'm glad you finally got around to finishing your first shoujo. Next up, he is currently auditioning for JPX49. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Man, it's going well. I'm sexy as fuck, my guy. So, yeah.
Sure.
But I'm doing great.
I'm glad you're feeling sexy, Kat. Our first moderator tonight, he is unable to distinguish the difference between the male and female demographic. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
You also forgot that I am unable to distinguish between age groups.
Let's not go there.
Well,
Whoa.
this show is a sign-in. Look it up on Mal.
That's fine. I got you clipped for the rest of your life, bro, with that statement. And our second moderator tonight, we got Pat. Pat, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I had a really good time with this sign-in show. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we are talking about Kageki Shojo, 2 exclamation points. Apparently that's important when notating what we're watching here, because we seem to like girl-oriented theater shows lately. We obviously did Review Starlight a few weeks ago. But yeah, so this is Kageki Shojo. It aired in summer 2021. Did it actually win our Anime of the Year?
It won my Anime of the Year.
Your specific Anime of the Year. Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think it won our collective Anime of the Year for our
I don't think it got a single
yeah.
vote other than me.
Well, after watching it, I probably wouldn't have voted for it either, but it was pretty damn good though. So I don't know, in my opinion. But yeah, so this obviously again aired last summer. It's a 13 episode series. Just the usual beats of something along these lines. Again, it is labeled a sign in on Mal as well. I know we joke about it a lot though, or building up to this we have. But yeah, why don't we get on with our first impressions? So Miles, why don't you kick us off again? Spoiler free, first couple episodes of the show.
Yeah, so I first watched this show when Pete told me to, and I was like, okay, yeah, why not? I don't do enough for my buddy Pete, so I figured I'd throw him a bone and be the only other person to watch Kageki Shojo. But it was really good. I remember loving it. I liked the first 3 episodes even more than I did last time when I rewatched it. Thought it was better on a rewatch. And, Pete has me as a true believer. Not quite as fervent as him, but I'm at least a creaster sort of guy for Kageki Shojo. Like, I'll show up to the church on major holidays. So,
For Easter and Christmas, but you're not doing it every Sunday.
Yeah, it's not every Sunday, but I'll show up. For sure, recommend this one. Big fan.
Recommend to most people. There we go. All right, Kat, what about you?
I was thinking about the way I was going to introduce this show to the public, especially when it comes to how the show starts off with, the kind of generic, coming into the school opening ceremony, all that. But I really did love how Sarasa came in with her, hey, take a picture of me, and I loved how, she was just a country girl. I don't know why, but I've been on a country girl kick recently.
You're a country boy, right? So maybe
I'm a country boy. No.
She's also not a country girl.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Well, I get what he means by that though. Like he has that she has that person. Like, ditzy personality that might fit
Yeah,
the
yeah,
label
that
where she's outgoing and not some reserved, perfect theater girl that everyone might imagine. I get where Kat's going there. Maybe that's a better way to
exactly.
put it though than
And I realized that this show's introduction is just a better version of Akibi's Sailor uniform introduction. And I was just kind of hooked because then it just got better and better and just started getting to like really deep subjects. And I was okay with that. My friend who historically hates anime was actually paying attention. He's mostly on TikTok. I hope you can hear me. But yeah, I'd recommend it.
nice. There you go. Recommend another recommendation from Kat. Pete, what about you? There we go.
Yeah, for when it comes to Kageki Shojo, it would be pretty hard to find a bigger fan other than me. I love this show. It was my anime of the year last year. Just for reference, it's Kageki Shojo with 2 exclamation points because that's the source material. The source material also has 2 exclamation points, which is a shoujo. Boom. Yeah, this is a great introduction shoujo when people get the idea that all shoujo is just like romance and stuff. This is a completely different take on the shoujo demographic, and I think it's a great show to recommend to people who are looking to broaden their horizons and not just watch the stereotypical action adventure stuff. This is a character driven story that I just absolutely fell in love with. The characters in the entire cast are just one of my favorites of all time. Sarasa is my favorite female anime character ever. I love her so much. Yeah, I absolutely recommend this to almost every single person. I don't recommend it to like shonen bros, but other than that, like everybody else, yeah, big fan.
There you go. All right, Jay, what about you?
Honestly, I liked the first 3 episodes well enough. I thought they did a really good job of introducing the characters and specifically like the setting, which I think the setting is very important to this anime in a lot of ways. A lot of the themes tie into the school and the expectations of going there and how they all dreamt of going there and stuff like that. Honestly, not quite as high on this as most of the other people here, probably, but I thought it was still pretty solid. Like, I would recommend it to people who like shows about acting, who are interested in theater, stuff like that. The only thing I will say is, like, I think that the title, people can kind of go in expecting, like, since it has review in the name, people might go in expecting sort of like idol stuff in some ways, and that just does not happen at all. Like obviously the Ray clone in this show is sort of has an idol background and stuff like that, but it really does, like, they could have called it something else and it would have avoided confusion with the other show we watched, and also might have been a bit of a better descriptor in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, I would recommend it to most people who would be willing to watch a show about acting and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty well done. I also watched the dub, which I thought was pretty well done, especially Sarasa's VA, and yeah, I liked it.
I thought the dub was incredible. I was blown away by it. Like it
I
felt
liked it a lot.
it felt like a modern dub, which is a good thing. Like that it should feel like a modern dub, but sometimes that isn't always the case. Sometimes they are just bad and or they miss it. And I think they kept Sarasa's like charm of her character. Like they were able to convey that like quirkiness just as well in the dub as they did the sub. So I think that's a very good point to make. But yeah, what about you, Johnny?
Yeah, so I didn't see the dub. I watched the sub because this is my first time watching. But so I don't have any experience with the show. I'll be honest, I didn't even know what year this came out. I just saw that like Pete has been constantly talking about this show. So I was like, hey, this might be a good show. But then again, it's Pete's opinion, so it's hit or miss. But it was pretty good. I was like Jay said, I was kind of expecting there to be some idol stuff, which I'm glad there wasn't. Because that stuff just like doesn't appeal to me at all. But I like the premise of the show. I think that like the story itself was interesting. They could have been done better in my opinion, but it's not a bad show. But there are some parts of the show that are like pretty bland. There's a lot of parts about the show that are like very stereotypical of anime in my opinion that just kind of gets to me. It's just like it's kind of a personal grudge, but would I recommend this? I mean, for someone like that like wants like Pete said, like the shonen bro, this is not something that you want to watch. It's not a lot of action. I mean, like I don't think anyone gets hurt physically, at least, so not too much of that to see. But hey, if your name is Peter and you're the first person in America to get Omicron, then the show's for you.
Second.
He's
person.
Second known case.
First in my heart.
Thank you, Johnny.
There you go. Oh, wow.
To get Omicron.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
That is
Damn.
pretty much the nicest thing he's ever said to you. I agree.
To anyone, actually.
I was about to say maybe to anyone.
It's up there. It's gotta be up there, right? And then lastly for me, by the way, I forgot to mention this was done by Studio Pine Jam, who are known for
Kageki Shojo.
just because Glepnir and Gamers. And pretty much nothing
Gamers?
else. Yeah, Gamers. Literally Gamers the anime. That's your favorite anime, I bet, Johnny.
I didn't know,
Oh, yeah,
Johnny,
yeah,
I didn't know you were in an anime, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, so this is pretty much what they're known for. Or this is the only show that they've got that's really done that well. So I don't know, maybe we'll see more work from them in the future.
Glipnir was pretty popular when it came out.
Yeah, but it was pretty bad too, right? Like
No, it was pretty. I gave it a 7. It was solid. It has a 7 on Mal.
It has a 7.0 exactly on Mal, yeah. So and it has 6 times the user base that or whatever that Kageki Shojo does.
Ooh.
So I
They're
guess
doing-
that's a good point. Wow, that is surprising. But yeah, oh yeah. So, anyways, back to my my initial thoughts. I fell in love with the show the minute I turned it on. First episode hooked me immediately. I wanted to see more. Really liked the girls had their own different personalities throughout the show that I really liked. I can agree with that. Some of it felt very generic at times, but generic doesn't always mean bad. You know, there's a story that's been told 100 times in anime like this about coming of age stories like this, and that's okay because they need to be told, or they're very realistic, or things that happen in real life. So I wouldn't say that those are necessarily negative points. I thoroughly enjoyed the show all throughout. I watched it dubbed as well, and I think the dub was really, really strong. I mean, I'd be curious to go back and see what the sub was like, especially just for Saras's voice actor. But again, they did fantastic job overall. I think the music was really good. I liked, and I kind of liked that we didn't actually see that much on the stage yet. The big, again, spoiler free. I guess we'll talk about this later in our closing thoughts. Then, how the show evolves over time. But I think the strongest part of the show is how it starts and just hooks you immediately. I would recommend this to anyone that likes drama, anyone that likes this setting. It's got a little bit of the slice of life, but not enough that it's like overpowering too. I think it was really, really strong. A really good sign in anime, really, really well done. So yeah, why don't we move on to our spoiler zone? And I guess spoilers matter. They're pretty relevant. So I'd recommend watching the show beforehand, though. I think you got 6 recommends, which doesn't always happen with shows going on Watch Club. So I'd check it out before we start talking about it. But yeah, Pete, you have a talking point that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about the similarities with like this, and we recently watched Review Starlight, where we have this pretty decent sized cast of characters, and with each character that's kind of involved in the main circle, we get some form of background story. While I do think that the cast is incredibly just solid all around, I think that the difference, each character's what they went through before they got to Kouka was really well done. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on what your favorite sort of backstory character are going into it, because the difference with this compared to Review Starlight is I thought the scenarios that they were involved in were much more serious than what we saw with Review Starlight. And yeah, just want to get your guys' thoughts.
Could start off. I like the backstories well enough. I think the key difference between this and Review Starlight for me was that for Review Starlight, the backstory was about how the characters interacted with each other instead of individual backstory, which it's kind of different because Review Starlight was definitely more based on the characters' relationships rather than their individual character arcs per se. Since nearly everybody was paired off more or less in that show by the end of it. I can't remember the girl's name. It was the one where she talking with the boy whose brother was a Major League Baseball player.
Karu.
That-
She has a huge advantage right off the bat with a name like Karu. for me.
That was
So
pretty
I-
good.
my
And
favorite scene.
then the Ray clone's backstory was fucked up. Her
I
mom
thought you were going
is
to say it was pretty
her
good.
mom
I
is
was
a
like,
piece of shit, honestly. And yeah, fuck her mom.
not
Terrible
the worst
person.
parental figure in her life, actually, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, fair enough. Also,
Because the dad's not there. Is that why?
No, because the stepdad guy abused
Yeah.
her.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
fair.
that was.
And yeah, I enjoyed him well enough. But like I said, I think I kind of preferred I like the way that they kind of tied the characters together in Starlight. But that's just kind of a me thing. I'm not trying to like dog points for it or anything else from this show for it necessarily.
My favorite thing about the backstories was just how great, like how much like character they built, and inside of a, even though it's a full episode, it shows how like you can build one, like a full character in one episode and make sure that it's like done correct. Like how Ai's backstory, it told you how she got to distrusting men, distrusting people in general, distrusting everyone, and why she felt so bland in a way. Because it wasn't just because, you know, she was bland. She used to be like happy, or at least somewhat happy, and then shit happened. And that's just how things go for the most part.
Did she used to be happy though? Because I feel like
When
from
she was
my
a kid.
understanding, when she
Yeah,
was a
when
kid,
she's a
I thought she
kid.
was no, I thought she was acting the whole time. I thought she was acting like she was
She
was
There's,
able
like-
to like put on a fake smile.
There's like scenes with like her mom that she showed that like she was having like a good time, like learning about being an actress and stuff like that. And then when the
Yeah.
stepdad got introduced, that kind of changed everything.
I thought it was
Exactly.
always an act because her mother was never really present or
No,
She
that
was
was
learning
her-
how to act with her mom,
yeah.
right? Like she talks about that with like, that's a lie. But then she talks about how a thing that isn't a lie is that like her mom cares about her or something. And then later
Yeah.
she realizes like that is a lie, and then she cuts her hair and she gets really sad.
Yeah.
And like she has the
Um,
friend and stuff she hung out with and had a good time. Like she was definitely being taught by her mom, and I'm sorry for going on so much, Kat. To
Yeah.
like lie, and like she learned those skills that she used later on, like from her mom. But she also had a big part of her that was like a normal kid as well.
And one of the things about the show in general that I loved was how it did that for all the characters, and also how the backstory did have an effect on their personality, but it didn't also. But like, just because, like, say I was an actress, it didn't translate immediately over to being in review. They had to practice, even though we didn't see the practice. We saw bits and pieces here and there during the episode, but it showed that they did have a great way of doing it. I also like the twist with well, sorry, I'll get into that later. But my favorite backstory was Kaoru, because of how like it felt lighthearted. It felt like she was. It felt like she was there, uh, and then immediately it shows how one character, even though they have all of this like in front of them on the line that they would be losing, one thing that they hold the most dear can say, "Go fuck yourself. I'm doing what I love." And I like how that inspired even the people that she might have hurt. I genuinely enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say that like my favorite backstory was Eyes 2, mostly because while I will say that like a lot of the characters' backstories were like engaging and like believable enough to make you somewhat like the characters. I have an issue of how the show does it for everyone's arc except Eyes, which is basically more happens in the backstories than actually in the present. Because like we see this happen a lot of times in this show, and it's not just like, and this is what I mean by like some of the things about the show that are very anime like is that like a lot of anime have a lot of really cliche backstories. You know, it's like the classic big shonen fight right before things about to go down. You have one full episode that's just a flashback. And this show is just, I felt like it did that a lot. So like specifically for the Kaoru scene, it's like after we see the backstory, it's like what happens in the show after we see that is that she just sees the letter, and it's just like I don't really I get that it serves a purpose. I was gonna say, like, I get the point where, like, it for the viewer to understand the character. I just don't understand this. I just don't understand like what the backstory does for the plot.
So
Because like,
sorry,
anyways,
I thought you were done.
that's all I had going.
Okay. So one, Karu's story isn't a backstory. It's happening at the same time that I literally just almost called her Ray. Is
Same person.
is visiting Saraza. It's just a look into her summer because they could have done both at the same time had they chose to do the episodes like that. And during that episode, we do learn some about her backstory because she talks to the boy about her backstory, right? And I would say that the effect that it has on her character is that that whole interaction is what made her commit even harder to going for the otakuyaku role and like cutting her hair and doing that stuff. We see how hard she tries, which is, and this is part of an issue with the show that the show for sure has, where it just cuts off where it cuts off because she doesn't get the role she wanted, and we don't see how that affects her. Yeah. Despite the fact that she is like min-maxing the absolute ever-living hell out of like perfecting herself. You know, but like I will admit that it feels very flashbacky. You're like super right, but it's essentially a flashback to like 1 month previous to the episode that we just saw. I don't really view it as a backstory.
It's funny because I didn't actually know that took place in that summer. I thought it was earlier.
I get that too because I thought
because here's the thing.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people would not realize that because the show doesn't fucking do anything to tell you.
Here's the biggest thing is that the guy shows up with like a buzz cut, and then by the end of like the thing, he's got like a full head of hair. And, like, you don't grow that in a month. Like maybe.
Well, I don't know how long summer break is.
But... Maybe you do if you're like Chewbacca, but like for a normal person, like you don't grow that much hair. So like, you know, that's like a common trope in backstories or like flashbacks. You see the person like come back and they're like completely different hairstyles. You know, like from my perspective, I didn't even realize that was from the summer. I thought it was like from before she even like joined the school. So like that's an issue I had to show. Again, it's just like.
Well, do you know the point of that, right? Because like
I know because
like in baseball they have to shave their head, and then the season they lost so that he was able to grow out his hair. So like that's the whole point with the hair.
I don't know that. Okay, so like I guess that makes
sense. And because like their backstory was like they're both committed to their goal. He wanted to do baseball and she wanted to do acting, and then you see with the hair with the baseball's done, he's no longer playing baseball, so now he's pursuing his next goal, which is Karu.
Yeah, but she's still committed to her goal, which
Correct.
is being the otakuyaku, which is why she like cuts her hair and makes herself less traditionally feminine, because she found herself sort of going off course from her goal. Like, you know, she talks about how she was like feeling like a girl for a little bit or whatever, and
getting to be a teenage girl is what she said.
Yeah, and like she sort of almost lost track of her goal. But because of that fight they had where they had a similar experience, but they viewed it differently, she's like sort of brought back to reality on that. So
let me go quick because this Karu story was my favorite one as well. It was like my favorite episode probably in the show. I can see where you're coming from with the flashback thing because she talks to him, or there are scenes where she's talking about entering the academy, right? Or she's talking about making it to the school.
It's probably both summers, right?
I think
that's the thing.
I don't think it's just one summer. I really don't think it, or if it was, then it wasn't as clear because like, and again, the episode by the way is also called Karu's Summer, so it's like it's meant to be like basically what did she do this summer break? Which summer break I believe in Japan is usually like 2.5 to 3 months or whatever. Didn't he say in his note that I'm still pursuing baseball? Isn't that like what the note said? The note said
it did.
I'm still pursuing baseball and I'm still pursuing you. I thought was like what the. So I didn't think it was that he gave up on baseball. I think it was.
No, he's done with baseball
for the season.
For the season, so that's why he has his hair grown out.
Oh, okay.
But she's never done, right? Like that's.
He has breaks. She doesn't. Yeah.
I guess. I know there's yeah. I don't necessarily. I think we might be looking a little too deep into the hair there. I don't think that that's what
The hair is a visual story point for more than one character in this story.
Because she
No,
cuts
I'm
her
not saying no for her it is. I'm saying for him, I think it was just like, oh yeah, time has passed. I don't think it was meant to be that because I know he's in the off season now, so he's training, right? Still with the team. He would still be required to have a buzz cut if that was required. Either way, that's not a point to contest over. But I do see where you were coming from, Johnny, with being confused about whether it was one summer or when it was, because it definitely felt flashbacky and also had flashbacks as well beyond like literally what just happened
Yes.
during that month, you know.
There were flashbacks in the flashback.
Like, guys, like the point I was gonna say is that like after we see the flashback, as Miles said, nothing really happens. She doesn't get the
That's true.
role, and then she just basically has no lines for the rest of the show. And see, like I feel like this is the kind of show where they were expecting to get 2 cores. Almost, it feels like they were building up a lot. Like there's like 6 characters here that have their backstories like shown in the show, maybe even more, but there's only 13 episodes. That's just not enough time to get them all fleshed out and like make them believable.
Well, it's because it's a manga, right? Like that has X. Like this is a issue with anime at large, where you have basically 2 options when you do something like this. You can skip a bunch of content to try to fit in an entire arc for everyone, and you can like make this weird amalgam, or you can do what this did and cut it in sort of a weird spot. It's actually, light novels are literally written in such a way so that their plots fit into anime cores nicely. And I don't know if I don't think manga always do that, right? Like I'm sure
new
some
manga does. New manga
Okay.
for sure does.
Yeah.
But this is a bit older. This is like a 2014 manga or something like
Yeah,
that.
2015. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like I do not disagree with you. We see her be committed. We say, I'm for sure getting Romeo. You all fucking suck. I'm going for it. Suck my dick. And then she doesn't get Romeo to some red shirt, right? Some red shirt gets Romeo. But we don't get to see how she responds to that, which would be very nice. It is for sure something that this is missing, and like you're not wrong. I guess I'm just assuming that exists, right? Like if this were an 18 episode anime, I assume we would get more closure on that, because someone like Bulimic Girl, Ayako Yamada, yeah, right? Like there's her arc gets like flushed out more, right? Like she doesn't believe in herself. She gets called a fatty. She becomes bulimic. Teacher tells her that she's good at singing and should like believe in herself. Then we see her act on that, right? She believes in herself. She kicks ass in the Juliet thing. She gets the role. Presumably she'll either do well on that or not. You know, we'll see what happens. But there's a payoff for her arc. But we don't see that with everyone's because of where it was cut off. I'm not saying your criticism is wrong. I guess I'm just trying to contextualize it, if that makes sense.
Well, no, I understand why they do it. It's just that
it sucks,
it's still
right?
just a problem. That's why I said it's a very stereotypical anime, because these issues are common in anime because it's just the way that the material is like structured.
Yeah, no,
like,
I do completely agree.
That doesn't like this. That doesn't mean it's exempt from critique. It's just still something that exists and that we should like take it into consideration. And
but I don't know if there are there are, but like if this show was, I guess to me, when you're adapting something, if you like, do you think it's better if they had skipped some stuff to make it worse overall if they were not to ever get 2 core and to make this 1 core better, or to make this and then the payoff is better if they get 2 core? Like, I could see either way. I'm just asking you which one you think is better.
Well, I think if we're going on the assumption that this will get a 2nd core, then I would say that this direction is going fine. But it's like, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think there's still a way where you can do it, where like, say, in my opinion, I say cut it off even earlier. Maybe cut it off like right before the reveal. I know this would kill Pat, but cut it off right before they reveal who wins. and just flesh out their backstory more.
Pat would be
Like,
dead.
I'm actually not
would
telling them
actually-
to speed it up. I'm telling them to slow down and like take more time with these characters.
Assuming we did this, we wouldn't know if the show would get a second season or not. This show would get a 6 if it did that. So,
But like, it would kill Pat, but like for everyone else, it would make them more excited to watch the second season. So like, you know.
oh, I would be ecstatic if there was a second season. But if there wasn't, then the show would be
Anime
screwed.
these days, they usually get second season unless they're
It-
like really bad.
Yeah,
Not
or-
Shoujo's.
Well, that's good because it's
Yeah.
a Simon.
Exactly,
Chihaya-
dude, so we're
and
doing
also
good.
Chihayafuru hasn't gotten like 4 seasons. Totally hasn't.
It's gotten
yeah.
3, and it's a Josei.
Oh shoot, I was wrong.
Thank
my
you,
bad.
Master of Shoujo Peter McGinn.
Has anyone ever? Are there any shoujo anime? Has anyone ever seen one before?
Fruits Basket 3
Peter-
times. I don't know.
I have
It's
one
I watched 3
behind me.
episodes.
Tokyo Mew Mew New
Gang,
bitches.
gang,
Yeah,
gang.
There you
What
go.
Sailor Moon.
No, wait though. What was the we were just talking about the oh yeah, like why do you think that they decided to cut it off where they did? Because again, like it would like what's Johnny saying,
I can tell
think
you.
it
Yeah,
makes a lot more
tell us.
sense.
I can tell you why.
Spoilers, Peter?
It's the same. It's the same reason why Pine Jam is the animation studio. It's a small production budget, so you go out and buy the manga. Just like how anime was initially created, for the most part, was a promotional tool for manga. And guess what? It worked for me. I went and bought all the manga. I even bought the like 2-volume like one shot that it's based. The serialization's based off of The Curtain Rises.
I have
Make no
I have it
mistake,
in my
Peter.
Amazon.
Anime
you
is just advertisement for manga, unless it's an anime.
No, it's
original,
it's
then just an
advertisement for
merchandise. and
figures. Yeah,
manga. Yeah.
merchandise.
There you
Ama-
go.
Yeah, anime originals are advertisements for gotcha games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes. Yeah.
The-
That's,
Sure.
So why did I also thought it was weird that you made the red shirt joke already, but like giving it the main roles or 2 of the main roles to 2 red shirts felt really weird, especially when you have such a big cast. Like,
What do you
I
mean
really
by
like
red shirt?
that.
They're all first years.
what a red shirt means like
yeah, a red shirt is
Background
like
character.
is a background character. It's from
Star
like
Trek.
Star Trek, where the person who
Red shirt sky.
yeah, the red shirt is always the one who dies, right?
Oh,
in the
okay.
episode
I was
or
thinking
whatever,
like
they're
college
they're the
football or
background.
something. I was like,
no.
No. Yeah, that's
It just
that's
means like random background character you've never seen before this moment.
yeah, that may have been in the background, but you never actually had any lines or anything,
I-
which I thought was weird.
I loved it. I loved it so
I,
much.
I like it too.
I
Red
don't
shirt
mind losing.
Red shirt implies they're going to get thrown away too, or killed off or something.
Gotcha.
And they for sure will, right? Like they're not going to become a character that gets developed after that Romeo and Juliet. I mean, maybe they will. Pete, do they?
Well, I read the physical manga, and the physical manga right now leads off where the anime led off. So I have to wait until October to read what happens after the anime.
Okay, never mind then.
That's fucked.
They
That is
cut so much of the manga from this story. This is 6 volumes worth of stuff in 13 episodes.
Is it worth reading? Would you say? Like, if I was interested in this, should
Well,
I?
What do you
buy
think
it?
people say?
Yes, I like the anime more than the manga, but I don't think the manga is bad at all. So, like, if you think like the show's at 8, the manga's probably a 7.
Okay,
Alright, Pete.
is it the added lore? Like, am I going to be like, oh fuck yeah, I learned?
If you
all-
like the more of the backstory, the characters are fleshed out more. You'll like the manga way more. It's just like the art's
That's
just
what,
like
so
the
that's what
art's
they
just
should
like
have done in the
whatever.
anime.
No, but they only have 13 episodes. The whole point is they have to take how much content that they have, then put it in the 13 episodes. So some things that get cut. It's like that for almost all anime.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. I feel like they were fleshed out enough, though. Honestly, I don't know.
100%.
I felt pretty comfortable with the
Oh,
amount.
the
Like I didn't
twins?
sit there.
I love the twins. That's my favorite
No, I agree.
backstory.
The twins were my least favorite.
That's my favorite
Oh,
backstory.
yeah,
I have like one episode where they mattered. The rest of the time, they were just in the background and made outfits doing
That-
something. I don't know.
That makes sense. I agree that so like maybe more backstory on the twins would have been cool, or the second years, a couple of them. I'm sure they will though. That's the thing again. Like if this story continued, they would get more fleshed out because they'd become more relevant to the story, right? So that's where like this felt perfectly paced to me. It didn't feel like it was rushed, like you can usually feel sometimes with adaptations that are trying to get to a certain point or not. Like this felt like a pretty natural point for it to get to. It just felt like again. Why was it 13? Why wasn't it 26?
add another episode so that they can do their get or whatever.
Not even that. Just like, okay, well, yeah, we're halfway into the show right now. It makes sense that we're at the halfway mark, right? Like that's what it felt like, which is frustrating because like it, and especially the last 3 episodes, I did feel like, at least compared to the first few, dragged a little bit more. They didn't feel as fast paced or as
they
maybe
ran
not
out of
fast-paced,
budget. You could tell. Like
Yeah.
the sports festival has that like 2-minute recorder song in it,
Yeah.
which was the exact moment that I dropped it from a 9 to an 8.
Yeah, the whole that whole second half, it was just like, this is very like, okay. Like I honestly, after like episode 8 or 9, whenever Karu's summer was, I was like, oh damn, this is just kind of like it's not even that it like went down. It's kind of like
It's
almost like a
plateaued or
gas.
whatever.
It's like a car running out of gas. It's like
Oh yeah, petered out a bit.
petering out. Yeah, that's the right word.
What?
What did he do to a car?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
What did
I
he
know.
do to get that nickname?
Yeah, it was this Pete who coined that phrase. I liked the twins. It's not even a backstory. Like I liked their conflict because I thought that as soon as one of them said, "I waited a year for my twin to get in," that I could predict that something like that would happen. Like, and I liked that because it seemed like a very, like everything they did seemed like something siblings would do in my head. What having a sibling is like, because I'm an only child, but it seemed like it in my head.
Okay, so it was my favorite backstory was the twins, and it definitely relates to my younger brother who were Irish twins essentially. So like we're really close, and a lot of times we were always on like the same like sports team since we're like a year apart. We were always on the same baseball, soccer team, blah blah blah, and having that like resentment of like. Kind of at some points her sister was like holding back because she was holding back for her sister because she made it and the other one didn't, and it's like, and yeah,
she got surpassed after that happened.
Yeah, right. And it's
like, yeah,
it's just like, I did this for you and this is how you like whatever. And it's like it's silly, but like that's things that siblings do, like the resentment over something like that. But like you see by the end, like they're still sisters, they love each other, they want to like their goal is to be like the bunny girls that they saw in that show, and they still want that dream. It's just I really enjoyed like the resentment that they had in the fight and the makeup that they had with each other. I love the twins.
I didn't like how they just made up. I thought that like the argument there would be a bit like, yeah, sure, I get that they both share the same goal or whatever, but they like it just felt like to me they just kissed and made up almost.
I mean, like with my brother, it was like we'd hate each other, we'd like fight, and then after we fought, let's go play video games. It's just like,
but you'd hash out your differences first though before you do that, so that way you don't have that.
No, we just fought.
Fair enough.
You didn't like slap him as hard as you can.
No, we beat the shit out of each other. Yeah,
exactly. So that's making up for guys. It's like you beat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That this is their form of punching each other. They like they separated, they went to different rooms and stuff like that, and then over time they like realized like the situation, and then they made up. I thought it was really well done.
And as a twin, it's incredibly realistic.
Yeah,
for what it's worth. So
this is a pretty pivotal moment in their lives, though. I think that's where I was just like, this is something that has been building up for months, if not years, of them like living together, competing together, or well, they're competing together, but at the end of the day, they're still competing against each other.
Yeah,
right?
her sister like sabotages her essentially. Like she like almost ruins her like entire standing at the school.
Yeah, and they just kissed and made up.
They did not. They literally moved rooms and separated each other for like for like weeks. Yeah.
They separated for time, but again, I don't feel like I saw it on screen like where they.
I agree. It could have been
hashed it out.
You could have that run over an episode or two. I'm kind of glad that it was short because twins fighting each other is like a very cliche thing. I'm sure Jay probably gets sick of it. But like, so I like that like it happened, but I also like that it was condensed. On the other hand, I do agree that like to make it seem a little less abrupt, you could have had that like run. Like, it happened, then there's an episode where you notice that they're still not talking, but it's not the main focal point, and then they get back together or something like that. Like, you could pace that slightly differently, and maybe it's a little bit better. I did like it overall.
They do that in the manga.
It's okay.
Well, Watch Club, unfortunately.
Oh,
I might
I-
read the manga, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is where I would struggle to like. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, I want to read the manga afterwards, but like in this case, I feel like this show would suck if I wasn't watching it. Like to me, I don't know. This not suck, but it would be hard because it wouldn't have the musical elements. It wouldn't have the voices and the funny things that they say.
The personalities and
with the
stuff.
personalities and stuff. They wouldn't. I mean, they would still be able to indicate that with like little faces or whatever. Like the stupid stuff that they would do, but it wouldn't be the same, and that's why I know anime is always going to be the superior medium for almost every story, and I'll die on that hill. But at least compared to manga. But I feel like again, so like this one, I think I said the same thing about Revue Starlight too, where I was like, I would not want to watch this or read this. I feel like that this is something that, assuming it's adapted well, would be always better in an anime form.
So yeah, I thought that too when I watched Kono Oto Tamare, which is a musical anime, and then I read the manga, and how they can express emotion differently with a manga page completely reverted what I thought about that. So I get what you're saying, because I used to be like that, and then after reading like a music manga, I was like, oh, you can definitely portray the emotions that I felt on anime in manga form too. It all depends on how good the mangaka is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. But I'm also very biased.
I'm very anti-manga for the most part.
I could tell by your 4 completed manga on Mal.
Yeah, it's 4 more than me. So
Damn.
I completed a really long one as well. So, I have been reading manga for most of my life. It's just a matter of which ones I choose to want to read.
I haven't been an otaku for most of my life.
No, I wouldn't say that. But especially because it was on Cartoon Network. I think that kind
That's fair.
I think that makes it a little easier. But
I want to talk about Sarza.
yes,
The
let's do
goat?
that.
Yes.
you mean the giraffe?
Yes, she's
Yeah,
very
they-
tall, like
yeah.
a giraffe.
Yes.
Sarza, I think if I don't know if this is 100% true. I'm just gonna like say some like random off the cuff shit. Maybe it's ignorant. I think if you delete Sarza from this show, the like delta from the score of this show with Sarza and without Sarza is like top 10 for like any character. Just deleting them from a show, like she is so great, just so happy and earnest. And like the twin thing, like she realizes the mistake and like points it out, and like that's so cool. Like I just love her. I think she's so great. Like I want a friend like Sarza. Like that's I don't know. She's great. If anyone else wants to go off on her, please do.
Yes, please.
I'll go last because I'm gonna rant forever.
Okay, so my thing about Sarsa is that I feel like I actually have a Sarsa in my life. That's my friend Nathan. He is just like much like Sarsa. Like they're both very upbeat, very like loud and like energetic. And Sarsa just has. Honestly, I can compare it to an anime that most of us has watched. My high school romantic comedy is Wrong as I Expected. Snafu. That's what it
Origairu,
is.
okay.
Yes,
Alright.
Origairu.
I thought you were going to say
Yui?
Yukim Noah.
Huh?
I thought you were going to say
Talking about
Yukim
Yui?
Noah.
Oh no. So the main character in that, I forget his name.
Hachiman.
Hachiman.
The
Hachiman. Yes, the goat. I feel like he's a lot like Sarsa, but in a more confident light. Like Sarsa wants to help people get along because she needs to keep people together. Hachiman wants people to get along even at the detriment of himself. It just seems that Sarsa has the toolkit to make sure that she is not taking the fall for it and can actually help them figure it out themselves, or at least aid them in it. And when it comes to a character like that, it's kind of hard to portray that, in my opinion. Especially since, like, a lot of times, and a lot of stuff that we've seen, especially in Isekai, you have a character like that continues to try and help people, and it's terrible. It's horrible situation, and then they come in, do the slightest thing, and then all of a sudden everything's fixed. This seems like Sarasa is there, even though she's doing a little bit of the work. Most of the work is hashed out by the characters, and it actually feels genuine. Much like Hachiman is doing a lot of the work, and it actually feels genuine because he's taking a lot of the brunt of the pain, and that's what Origairu is about. But Sarasa is just like such a great character, and she just like a lot of the time I felt like the show was in second person, almost like The Great Gatsby, because of how great Sarasa was.
Well, I will say it's a lot easier to help people when everybody doesn't hate you, like Hachiman. But yeah, Sarasa, like
A lot of people hate Sarasa.
Okay, yeah, but like not as much as Hachiman, I don't think. But
I don't think anybody really hates Hachiman either.
Well, he thinks they hate them.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah,
that's the difference. It's like Sarasa self-confident he isn't. But anyway, so like my favorite part about her is actually like the part that she contributed in like the eye arc, because like, you know, you got this creepy otaku guy coming in here, and like I think like a lot of people expected him to be just like the stereotypical like creep, like, ooh, look at me, I degrade women or something. But you know, like he was just like a sad guy who was just like, you know, probably had something bad happen to him. Now this is just how he copes. And you know, like Sarasa didn't really see him as like, you know, a loser. It's just like he sees him as like someone that just wanted to help. You know, like he messed up, but like that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a second chance. And I think like she saw that in him and really gave him a second chance, and like she forgave him. And I thought that was a really good part of I thought that was like the best thing that Sarasa did in the show.
Anyone else want to go off before I go off?
I really like Sarasa. Really like great personality. I think I liked as well that they showed she was naturally talented and gifted, right? But she also had her difficulties, and she struggled, and she learned from those things. I think that was really cool. Like it wasn't just, oh, she's just really gifted, so she's gonna get this role. Like no, she clearly was driven. She's a little ditzy, but not too much to the point where it's like overwhelming. And I think she's like a perfect balance of like all of the fun things that make anime characters fun too. I think because like I think in real life she wouldn't work. I don't know. I think she'd struggle harder in real life. But in an anime, like I don't know, she fits in perfectly into being like that perfect mold of a character that's fun to watch. So,
I think if you're tall and beautiful, you can go pretty far.
That's not what I meant. I meant more that she'd be annoying in real life. I think you could argue.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also yeah, that's a good point though. Being tall and beautiful does help. But yeah, go ahead, go off, King.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so Sarasa is my favorite anime character in recent years for sure. She was like my best girl of the year. She's my highest rated like girl character ever. I absolutely adore her character. She does a great combination of not caring and caring at the same time. You see it in the first episode with the tree and taking a picture where everybody's just like, it's bad luck, and she's like, I don't care. I think it's cool that I look like pretty behind this awesome tree, and it immediately sets the tone for her character. And that's why like I is so drawn to her, I believe, in like the beginning, where she's not like the other girls or whatever that saying. And it progresses just throughout the entire story with her little funny like comments that she says, like, hey, creepy otaku man. Like I thought like stuff like that just like really showed off her character, where like she's not like, she is ditzy for sure, but like she's fully understanding of the situation at hand, and she's gonna make the best of it type of thing. And I think I really resonate with that as well, where even if it's a situation you don't want to be in, you try to make the best of it. And just later on, and Miles mentioned it, her pointing it out, the twin situation where she's just like, well, this is weird. Like, that's probably what happened. Love stuff like that. And how she just developed as a character throughout the story with her friendship with Ai. You see Sarasa just like kind of changing a little bit as a person, where she's not as like as an airhead. Like you don't see her anymore waking up late for classes and stuff like that. And I think that's because of like Ai's influence on her, and you see that as her character. I also really love it at the end with her boyfriend, that he is having a hard time like expressing what he wants, and she's like waiting at the aquarium for him to say the words. And I like that she didn't just like you see it like she's like visually like upset that he didn't say like I want to go out with you, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna take that like the horns, like I want you to be my boyfriend. And I like that she just like went for it, and that's her character the entire story. She's like, yeah, I want to be Lady Oscar. And it's like, that's preposterous. She's like, I don't care, like that's what I want. And so she just takes everything that she wants and goes for it, even if she maybe fails along the way. It's fine. I liked how she like kind of effed up as where she like copied that one actor when she was watching those DVDs, and the guy's just like, that was bad, like you just copied this person. And then she changed it with her Tybalt edition. Was just fantastic. I love her. I adore her. I mean, if we do a best girl, she's my best girl. Love her so much.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any other talking points? Or I was gonna say we could probably move on to best boy and girl. I guess there's not a lot of boys. No, there's enough boys.
There's some good boys.
Can I
some good ones.
propose something that we add in?
We're at 55 minutes, so
for this show, just add in your score without Sarsa. Like if Sarsa was removed from the show,
that'd be pretty fun, actually. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll do that too.
Yeah.
We'll do an SWS, a score without Sarsa. So we'll do best boy and girl, and then we might as well just do our closing thoughts wrapped in together as well, including your final score. So if you guys want to start, Miles, as always, why don't you start us off?
Sure. There were a lot of things that I liked in this. One thing that I liked that we didn't really talk about was something that hasn't been like completely closed yet is Sarasa and her boyfriend's relationship with each other. It's still like a little friendly at the moment. Yeah, he's got that limp. They did a handshake or whatever. But I think that's because he blames himself still for what happened to Sarasa, and he hasn't been able to forgive himself completely. And I like that, where like he loves her, she loves him, but he hasn't quite forgiven himself for the thing that he's done wrong, even though he was like a kid and he realizes it was like a mistake. He hasn't been able to like, he can't fully commit because he can't commit to himself. He doesn't feel like he deserves the thing he got. He still thinks that Sarsa does, even though there was never really a world where she was going to get it anyway. And I like that they're able to like work through that in some way and are still working through that. And I think that's like a really interesting dynamic. I really liked the scene of I mowing down all of the men with a machine gun. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that was really good.
There were a lot of cool references in this. There was an awesome Evangelion reference. There was that amazing JoJo reference. And I'm sure there were some others. The show was a lot of fun. When I was thinking about how to score this, oh God, I was so stuck between an 8 and a 9. I gave it an 8 last time. I was looking at where I had it in my rankings, and I was like, do I move it up here? Like, what do I do? And so ultimately what I decided to do was to move Zombieland Saga up to a 9, but keep this at an 8. So
that's why you told me I'd like your score. Okay,
because this was like, I was like, this is almost as good as I can get for an 8, but I still think it's an 8 just because of the way it ended, and like there are some low budget moments that come through that like do hurt my enjoyment of it. But like, I think Zombieland Saga is like this type of show almost perfected. This like ensemble backstory cast and stuff, and it also, has like, I don't know, there's a lot of extra like symbolism and stuff in Zombieland Saga, which is like super cool. So my score is Zombieland Saga's a 9 and Kageki Shojo is an 8. Sarasa is best girl. Without Sarasa, I feel like the show is like a 6, maybe a 5. Like it gets hurt pretty hard. It's hard to even imagine the show without her. Best boy is definitely not what's his name's uncle or dad or whatever. I found him kind of weird.
But
I'm going to say not I's uncle. He's fine. Sarsa's boyfriend's
uncle or
whatever. Yeah, he's like
Dio?
a little yes, Dio. But I'll say I's uncle is no, the teacher is best boy, the Phantom teacher. He's best boy. I really liked him. So I apologize for my long-windedness, but those are my thoughts.
That's fair. No, there's a lot to talk about too with each one. So, like we're combining everything together, I think, to make sure that we aren't long-winded twice, right? But I like it. All right, Kat, what about you?
So for me, I love this show. It felt very it felt very indicative of a like really good team sport thing, team sport type of thing. So here's the thing, uh, being from band, like having this same thing, even though band and play are not the same thing. Like you have a lot of that camaraderie, a lot of that if I can take care of you, I will type of mentality. And I just felt a lot of that. It felt like I was going back into middle school and a little bit of high school. And then like with the stories that they were telling, it was just great. Like they with how they developed the story, like even though there were some pitfalls here and there that you guys so perfectly mapped out in front of me, I am purposely just stepping over them and saying fuck you. So I genuinely enjoyed this show. And of course, best girl is going to go to Sarsa. She is best girl by far. Best boy, I would probably give it to Ai's uncle, just because he's such a he's a cool dude. Like it like I was like from the sexual harassment shit that happened, I was very afraid that it was going to go into like an incestuous love story, but it didn't. And I'm so glad about that. I guess that's PTSD for me. He's such a great dude. And my score for this show without Sarasa, probably a 4, honestly. I think it would be bad without Sarasa. But my score with Sarasa, I'm gonna go with a 9.
9. Ooh,
Yes.
Okay.
I genuinely enjoyed the show.
Nice. Alrighty. Let's move on then to Pete. What have you got?
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
We got a 10 here.
Okay, with 5 from Pete.
It's probably a 5 without it's probably a 5 without Sarsa. There's a lot of things we didn't even cover that I just want to touch on. The themes of the characters with dealing with serious shit going on in their life that people go through, and a lot of times I feel like we don't see that in anime, especially with a show that starts out as lighthearted, kind of as it is. Deals with like body dysmorphia, what's it called, sexual assault, stuff like that, where I thought they handled it in a real way that like progressed the story with the characters. So I thought that was just incredibly well done.
Sorry.
I loved the visual storytelling of the hair in this whole thing. Ai cutting her hair, and by the end of the story, it's long, and you can see that the reason why she cut it off and why she continued growing it was wonderful, along with the baseball character and Karu. I thought that was all just fantastically well done. I love this story. I love Kageki Shojo. If its purpose was for me to go out and buy all the manga, it succeeded. It's just unlike anything that I've really seen before in a art, music, sports, school style anime. It just tells this complex, deep story while keeping the majority of the tone lighthearted and fun. And I think because of that dynamic, it was why I resonated with this show so much. I adore this show. Best girl, Sarsa. Best boy is the piano teacher. I really enjoyed him and him noticing stuff with like Yamada.
Onodera?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my best boy too. Holy shit, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. And like him identifying like, because he picked out Yamada. Like he's the reason why Yamada made the school, because like he saw something in her, and then when she starts getting sick from not eating, he notices that. And I thought they did a really good job with him, like not overstepping his boundaries as a teacher, but it got to the point where he like broke into the all girls dorm to go check on her. I thought was like a great moment in his character. Just a great guy. Yeah, the show is a 10. It was my anime of the year last year. It's my number 20 anime of all time. I rewatched this in the dub, and I thought the dub started off slow, but by the end of it was a fantastic dub. Just a great story. I can't wait to continue reading it. I'll let you guys know what happens. Hopefully I can convince some people to jump on the manga. Crossing my fingers that it gets a second season. Odds of that happening probably 1%, but you never know. So yeah, Easy 10. Just love this show so much.
There you go. All right. Jay, what about you?
So I'm gonna have to echo Pete for best boy and best girl. Obviously, Synopsis is
I thought
the
you were
best
about
girl
to
because she
give this a
carries-
10. I was
she
like, out of
carries the
nowhere.
whole thing. And then Onodera is just excellent. I loved his speech talking to Aiko about like just you got in here because you are like there is something special about you. You have something. Don't waste it. You know how many other people cry out for this? You know how many people will be thankful to be in your shoes? And it's like people need a figure like that in their life whenever they're like everybody needs something like that in general, but especially when you're in like a prestigious thing like that, I think that they all need a reality check sometimes, especially since they're freaking actors. Overall, I enjoyed the show a lot. I enjoyed the show. Sorry, let me correct myself. I don't want to sound overzealous and then have everybody be disappointed with my score. I enjoyed the show for what it
3
was.
out of 10.
Like I said, I kind of wish that there had been more of like the actual like review element of it, but I think that's more of an issue with how like it really does feel incomplete. Like it feels like a 2-core show that we only got to watch 1 core of. So I think that kind of takes a lot out of it for me because I would have personally had it a lot higher if we could see like more of the reactions to what happens after the audition. Like if the audition had been like if the results of the audition had been episode 11 and then we got like an aftermath episode or something like that, I think it would have been kind of cool. But listening to Pete talk about how much was cut, I don't really know what they could have necessarily done about it, more or less. Overall, like I said, I would recommend the show to people who kind of like the inside baseball aspect of acting and the specifically theater. If you're interested in review, I think that there are probably overall better shows about the subject of review to go and watch. Not necessarily better quality than this show, just more in depth with the subject of review and stage acting. So for me personally, I think I'm going to give this a 7.
Oh, that's exactly what
7.
I wasn't disappointed. That's what I.
Alrighty. Johnny, what about you?
All right, so I'm gonna take a wild swing here, and I'm not gonna be a part of the echo chamber. So I'm actually gonna pick a different best girl, and I'm actually gonna go with I. And no, I'm not sorry, Pete. Don't give me that face. I don't care. Anyway, so the thing is, it's like Sarasa. It's kind of hard to not be best girl when she's in that position of the show. Like I feel like the show kind of unfairly gives her all the spotlight. She's like the center of attention. That's what her personality is. She's the center of attention. It's like saying Rem is best girl in ReZero. It's just
Wrong?
like, yeah, well, like because like everyone thinks that. It's like,
Amelia's way better.
oh, thank you,
I think a
Mancha.
lot of people. I think you're talking to 3 Amelia lovers out of the 3 people that have watched this show. other
Yeah,
than
but like
Sarah.
majority of the people who have watched the show is like they see this echo chamber, like ooh, blue-haired girl, best girl. But like, anyways,
So
like,
you're
this
picking
show,
the
like,
blue-haired girl for best girl in this.
yeah, I'm thinking of blue-haired girl. For this one.
Okay.
You
So, like,
understand where our critique comes from, right?
No, I don't see it at all.
Anyways, let's
so, like,
continue.
and it's like I just like like she comes in, she's obviously like had a traumatic childhood. She's just like kind of doesn't care about the rest of the world, and then like she slowly changes from that. And she just I like it when characters like one of my favorite tropes in anime that I like to see is like when a character is given a second chance and like she took it, like she understood that she like had the wrong perspective on something. She hurt a lot of people, and then she's trying to fix it. That's something that I really like to see, and also like. That's that when at the end when she, despite her best efforts, didn't get Juliet, is she kind of saw that I think as a product of like what happened to her. It's just like she lived up to this point, like being in the idol industry and just like never smiling, and I guess it ended up like costing her role. So I think she's learning from her past and trying to move on from that. So I think that's a really good thing. And so for best boy, I'm gonna go with Mamoru, the main teacher, basically for the show, the Phantom. I thought he was a great teacher. He had fun with his class. He tried to like encourage the students to really do their best, and that's a great thing in a teacher. A good teacher makes you want to learn, and I think he did that. But I do have a lot of issues with this show. some of them it's not really because of the show. It's more just about how like the structure of like anime and manga is. Sometimes you have to cram stuff in if you want it to be, you know, in one core, and unfortunately that's just what happened in this show. I think it could have been done better, but honestly, with like how the industry works, they don't know like what's gonna happen. If they plan for a second curve, that might not happen. It's just what it is when it comes to anime. So unfortunately, because of that, I'm gonna have to give the show the same rating that Jaden. I'm gonna give it a 7.
7. Alrighty. And lastly, for me, I'd say I'll also join the train. Like again, I love Sarasa, but I think Kaoru is my best girl. I enjoyed her story the most. I think as well, if this show continued on, she would become like the underlying star. I think she would be like the next. She would eventually win out, or if she didn't, it would be a fun like. I think she would learn to accept it or something, and I think that would be a cool character moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting onto her a little bit, like what I would expect to have happen, but
Her
I think
name
that
means star, so
there you go. Kaoru as well. Anyone named Kaoru automatically gonna, uh, get
Hoshi.
it.
No,
Yeah, gonna. Oh well, no, but Kaoru for me though is a name.
Oh,
that
I just wanted to
Mhm.
clarify her last name means Starfield. So
There you go. But yeah, so Kaoru is for me best girl. Best boy. I thought I was gonna be the only one who said it, but yeah, Onodera. I really liked that scene as well, where he gave her that talk. Talk where he was really just open with her and said like, look, you are as talented as everybody else here. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Stop doubting yourself, believe in yourself, but you also need to like work on yourself, but do it the correct way. And I really liked that. I think that was, he did the thing that, and like Johnny said, being a teacher that makes someone want to learn. I think he did that as well by being there for her and then continuing to like push for her and help her out in that music class. Then outside of that, again, I think everyone else has really echoed a lot of the same points. I really like the color palette that was used in the
Mm.
show. Like the art wise, again, there were a lot of moments where the budget really showed through at the end. But I think the palette itself was really nice. The two toned hair was nice throughout, especially on Sarasa with her little green bullshit at the bottom of her hair. They were bubbly. There were a lot of cool little character moments where their eyes or their faces in the background would shift or be something goofy or silly that I thought was really really fun. I think what hinders the show's score is the fact that there's not more of it. If there is more of it, I think I could bring the show up to a 9. And that's the thing; it wouldn't even have to be like good more of it. It would just have to be closure, or it would have to be like resolution to things that they're building up. Because like what we've talked about with Karu, there is no payoff for her story yet. Ayako, yeah, there's a little bit of payoff in the fact that she won her role, but we haven't seen her do it yet. We haven't seen what happens or the growth, or if there is actually growth between a lot of these characters. And I think just by having that payoff, the show could bump up to a 9. But as it is right now, I have it at an 8, and I'm a very solid 8 though, like a very very comfortable 8 out of 10. So yeah, that is our review of Kageki Shojo. Give me an applause for that joke, guys. Come on. Yeah,
Boo.
clap,
No.
clap, clap.
they're saying boo earns. Don't worry.
I
that
get
came
that
from
joke,
right
Miles.
before.
I got
Thank
the joke too. Don't worry.
Shout out to
I
all my
think I did.
Simpsons fans.
I think I did the math wrong. All right, that looks more like the score that it should be.
One
Yeah, I
seven.
think what
8.17.
8.17. All right, good. Because I had a 7 out of 10, and I was like, that's wrong. I must have forgotten to. Yeah, I forgot to add the Johnny 7 out of 10 on my calculator. But yeah, so we have an 8.16 repeating score overall for this show. So 8.17 will be what we mark it down as, which is 0.3 higher than on Mal, or 0.4, I believe. 7.77 on Mal for the show currently. I think all of us, well, not all of us, a lot of us agree that it is a little underrated or a little underwatched from last year. But I don't know. I think we all at least enjoyed it a good amount, like, and are glad to have watched it, which is nice. But yeah, that wraps up our discussion on Kageki Shoujo. So Miles, what did we vote on, and what are we watching for the week of September 5th? So Labor Day. What are we doing for our Labor Day
Oh,
episode?
that's when I start uni.
Ooh, you're gonna record some podcast your first day of uni, buddy?
God.
Probably not.
It'll actually be the week before because we're a week ahead. So
We'll see.
So in how do I want to do this? I've decided how I want to do this. Link, Click, and Aoi whatever, the short story one, Bunkaku, are tied with 9 points apiece. And we'll get legacy points. Then we had a tie for first as well between Haruhi Suzumiya and Escaflowne, but Escaflowne has legacy points. So we will be watching Escaflowne, which
That's
I've
not
now
There we
pronounced
go. There we go.
two different ways.
Let's
So-
pronounce it for the episode.
Yeah, so it'll be Escaflowne. Or the movie is what we will be watching for 2 weeks from now.
It is on Crunchyroll as well now. I believe it just got added recently.
Ooh.
Nice.
As part of that. Let me
Wait, so
just
you
double
don't
check.
want to come over and watch my DVD of it?
Oh wait, maybe it's not on Crunchyroll. It lied to me. Oh, the website lied to me. That's too bad.
Okay, we're all
Um,
party at Pete's house.
Woo!
Yep, ready at Pete's house. There you go. I mean, it might be on Amazon. That's probably where I'm going to end up watching it because Amazon has every movie somehow. But yeah, this is exciting. Cool, sick cover art again for and it's vintage. It's vintage year 2000, man. That's
Back to back
old-ass
shoujos.
anime.
Let's go.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
true.
We had decent scores the week before. We had good scores this week. Next week it's a Pat show, so we're gonna have bad scores. That's just
Yeah,
the way
no,
it works here.
it's a Pat show that's also from like before as well. Like it's an older one, like Elfin Lead and
Older than me.
One's
and,
across the board.
Now and there and here and there, or now
We
and then.
keep
and here and
voting for him, buddy.
That's true. I know. Well, because it's exciting. Even if you don't like it, it's cool to see like
No, it is
how
it is
bad
fun.
anime is from before the year 2000, like 11 or so.
I
Um,
nominated one from 1980 and nobody voted for it. Besides
vote
me,
for
I'm
it.
pretty sure.
Was
Dude, that's
Dirty
twice
was it
my
Dirty
age. I'm
Pear?
not watching something
Yeah.
older than my dad.
Dirty Pear got a legacy point. It came in second.
Oh.
It's on that list I just sent you of all the legacy points.
Well, I can't read. I, just,
Fair enough.
I like manga because it's pictures.
Yeah, it's funny that the show is older than Johnny. That's really funny. It's it's all the same age as my little brother. So there we go. But yeah, so why don't we talk about what shows we're nominating for to vote on to then eventually watch on the 19th of September. So Miles, why don't you start us off?
Kat, are you re-upping Harui?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, sure.
I think I
It
will.
was a yes.
Okay. I'm going to nominate Liz and the Bluebird because it was actually
Ooh.
the entire reason that I did Sound Euphonium, so that I could then nominate Liz and the Bluebird and we would have some basis for it. So that is my nomination.
Great choice.
Listen to Bluebird. Okay, Kat, Haruhi.
So I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about.
Just say it, man. Just say it. You don't need to. You don't
Move
like, man.
on.
I got like 5 minutes. I legitimately have like 5 minutes.
Did
Let's
I
go.
just get betrayed?
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay, what are you nominating, Kat?
Haruhi Suzume.
Okay.
I was thinking about Black Lagoon.
Ooh,
That was my
would've-
backup pick.
That would have been
Yeah.
a good one, actually. Damn. I didn't realize that's only 13 episodes.
It's 12 actually.
The first season's 12.
Huh. I would have definitely guessed it was one of those like 50 episode shows or some shit like that.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I'm gonna do something pretty similar to Miles. I'm a big fan of Sound Euphonium. I was thinking about listening to Bluebird, but I'm gonna do something pretty similar. I'm gonna nominate the Netflix show Tekken Bloodline.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is this how we get Has back on?
Yeah.
What even is that?
It's an O&A.
It's the
It's a
Tekken, anime.
anime.
What?
It's the one
The
that just
fighting
launched
game.
on Netflix.
It's only 6 episodes.
Okay, well, if it's a Netflix show, then I already feel like it's gonna be.
It's pretty good.
Oh, when you said Netflix anime, I was like, oh, are you gonna nominate the Roman
Oh.
the bathhouse anime?
I finished
Like,
that, by the
was-
way. Banger.
I did too. It was really
So
good. I
good.
finished it a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was really good. Solid 7. By really good, I mean 7 out of 10.
I
but
gave it
still
an
really
8.
good. Yeah, there you go. All right, Jay, what are you nominating?
I am, you know what? I think I'm gonna go back to my well, try and get some more people in on this before the 4th season. I'm nominating Golden Kamuy season 2.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
star.
Yes, let's go. No, that's exciting. I like that.
I
Like that
I
nomination
just
a lot.
finished that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're watching it again, boy.
We should
I'm watching season 3 right now.
Okay,
Stenka. It's good, right?
Stenka.
Stenka. That shit was so good.
Yes.
All right, Johnny, what about you?
So I figured it's been a month since I was here, but I was gonna like nominate something good, something that people would enjoy, and then
Remo.
Has had to call me out, and then like he just had to do it. So because of that, I'm gonna nominate Orimo. I
Oh
don't
my
care.
god! My joke was finally right. I'm voting for it. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
I will die on this hill. People think I'm insane. I have the weapons ready. Like I'm ready to like.
I have
Safety
I'm ready to
scissors,
go down.
boy.
I have heard
Yeah,
other
no,
people echo
I
your
just turned
sentiment.
18, so I gotta still like protect myself.
Okay. You're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute, a show that somehow people were surprised was about incest.
Look, look. I'm crazy right now, but you're gonna have to trust me.
No.
Okay.
I trust you, Johnny.
No.
All right. Yeah. So for me, I didn't. We won. We won, boys. We did it. So Escaflowne is done or whatever. So now I have a question for you though. When I look at my plan to watch, I have only one show that I haven't watched that hasn't aired yet, or that isn't longer than 13 episodes. Are you guys cool, especially since we're voting for like the late September version of this or episode? That's when we would be doing this. It's Summer Ghost. I would like to nominate that. It's like a 45
Can we
minute.
watch it? That's the thing. I don't know where it's streaming.
I
It is
think
not
it's screening
legally
by
anywhere.
No, it's not legally anywhere yet, but I think by the end of September, which is when we would be recording this, I'm pretty sure it'll be screening by then. I thought I saw somewhere that was screening in September.
I would say
A little
no.
bit more.
That's really
Okay.
iffy.
That's fine. Then,
Once it is screening, I'll be sure to vote for
I would
it.
be
yeah.
really happy to watch it though when it is.
yeah, because
more
it looks
accessible.
interesting to me. But all right, then I'll dude, I don't really want to nominate Vivi. So I'm gonna nominate Mushishi instead. because
26 episodes.
It says it's 10 here on the
Are you sure that's the original Mushishi?
Mushishi Zoku Show.
Nope.
Yeah,
I think that's the second season.
That's like the
That
5th
is-
season.
yeah, that's like
Mushishi 1 is what I'm going to be nominating come December. But yeah, Mushishi, the first season is
26.
26
Yep.
episodes.
Well, shit. All right, I guess I'm nominating Vivi then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was only 13 or something. I
I'll
thought
link
there was
you.
the first season. But yeah, there we go. All right, either way. All right, well, then, I don't know. Maybe I'll finally finish Vivi. There we go.
You should. It's really good.
that one day.
I want to. I do want to. Thank you, guys, so much for listening. And that wraps up our watch club for today. So I think I'll hand it off to Pete to close us out.
Yes, and if you've made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are listening or watching us on. Next week, not sure what we're going to do something anime related. I'm struggling. I was hoping to do the next season preview, but that's actually going to be like a month from now, so we'll figure something out. Don't worry about it. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time.